Welcome everyone to Temple Solel's Friday evening services. I'm Rabbi Efrat Zohar, and with me this evening is Cantor Israel Rosen, Robin Rosen, and Matthew Lippman on technology. And as we always do, we begin with a nigun. Cantor, what do you have for us this evening on Shabbat?
Lai 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 lai
Beautiful. And now we're going to ask Robin to kindle our Shabbat lights. And as we see those flames, we bring the warmth, the fire into our hearts, the warmth to allow us some comfort after a work week, if we're working, or just a week of struggle. Sometimes that happens. And the comfort will come to us, but the fire to be able to do more in the upcoming week. Robin.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Let us slide this light and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light this light and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
And now we continue with Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala. We welcome Shabbat as a bride, as a queen.
Ay, 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 lecha dodi, ay, 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 likrat kala, ay, 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 penei Shabbat, ay, 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 nekabela, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, בשמו לתפארת ולתהילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה. בואי בשלום תרד בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We continue with Shalom Aleichem as we welcome these messengers who come in all kinds of forms to us all the time, from the world of spirit to help us to see a little more clearly in our lives where we should be headed and what we should be doing.
שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
There are so many different ways that we can encounter the divine. One of them is to simply turn inwards and to connect to our breathing, to feel the rhythm of the in-breath and the out-breath, to get quiet, to encounter our soul, our neshama, which of course, as I've said before, is conveniently so similar a word to neshima, the word for breathing in Hebrew. And it's in this quieting that we can begin to hear a voice other than our own, in addition to our own, a voice that speaks to us from so many different avenues in the world. And this is the voice of the divine, the Holy One. This is the this is the voice of the oneness of all that is, which is what we seek to connect with and to affirm as we recite Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your strength, and with all your being. Say this watch which I command you this day upon your heart, upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak about them in your home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you rise up, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, and on your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
And I hope each one of you used these words when you sat at your Pesach Seders and remembered the Exodus from Egypt. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, and yet there is a better place, a promised land, and that the winding way to that promise will pass through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
La 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 מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד. La 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 la. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, so that when we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. לדורותם ברית עולם.
Vayom hashvi'i shavat vahinafash. It was on the seventh day that we ceased, we stopped from all that we were doing, and we became ensouled. Vahinafash, we rested and became ensouled. So now we pause for private prayer and personal reflection. Now we take a moment for refuah shlema to pray for those in our congregational family who need healing, whether it be of body, of spirit, of mind, of soul. Robin, this evening, who are we particularly praying for?
Ann Becker, Richard Blanky, Joe Bulick, Jane Gambardella, Seth Gelwasser, Dr. Robert Greenstein, Don Harvey, Larry Juris, Ida Kachurka, Hannah Cates, Phyllis Lewis, Elwood Powers, Sid Rabin, Michelle Robinson, Gabriella Rosenthal, Randy Shattenkirk, Michael Slotnick, Ray Strauss, Dan Tupaj, and Madison Tupaj, Charlie Wolf, and Martin Zaffman.
Adam
And,
Holtz and Will Holtz.
Are there any other members who have names to add?
Greenberg.
Malka Sifra Bar Chana Rezel, Shmuel Mordechai Ben Leah Miriam, Asna Fega Bar Asna.
Mark Vesey,
Abe Cohen, Diana Ramos.
And to them we add Silka Freda Bat Leah, Tova Bat Esther, Ari Ben Miriam, Mordechai Avram Ben Esther, Chaya Sarah Bat Bashya, and Hannah Bat Devora.
מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים Elena refana la Elena refana la Elena refana la Elena refana la משברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
In this week's Parshat Shemini, we encounter the painful episode in which Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, are inexplicably killed. The Torah spent an enormous amount of time laying out all of the detailed laws and parameters of the sacrificial system over the last several parshiot. And then these two young men offer what the Torah calls Eish Zara, an alien fire, an offering that seemed to be spontaneous, but outside of the prescribed system of required and regulated offerings to God. Here are the exact words the Torah says. And Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, took each of them his incense pan, put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and offered Eish Zarah, strange fire, before the Lord, which God had not commanded them. And there came forth fire from before the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Every year when we come to this parsha, this episode stops us short, and raises so many difficult theological questions that plague our senses of morality and compassion. But Aaron's response to the tragic death of his children in Leviticus chapter 10, verse 3 is what I really want to explore more in depth. The Torah says his response was this, Vayidom Aharon, and Aaron was silent. How strange. We expect to hear Aaron respond in some way, whether it be in mourning, in anger, or even with some sort of acceptance. However, sometimes silence is the only way to respond to events in our lives. I think particularly about the confluence this year of reading about the tragic death of Aaron's sons in our Parsha and marking Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, last night and today. First, you should know that the official name of Yom HaShoah is Yom HaZikaron LaShoah VeLaGvura, which literally means Holocaust and Heroism Remembrance Day, because Israel tied the date it chose for Yom HaShoah to the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, which began right before Pesach in 1943. Yom HaShoah opens in Israel at sundown with a state ceremony held in what is called Warsaw Ghetto Square at Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, which actually the official name is Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Museum. During the ceremony, the national flag is lowered to half-mast. The president and the prime minister both deliver speeches. Holocaust survivors light six torches, symbolizing the approximately 6 million Jews who were murdered in the Holocaust. And the chief rabbis of Israel recite prayers. On Yom HaShoah, during the day in Israel, and this happened today, ceremonies and services are held at schools, military bases, and many other public and community organizations hold ceremonies as well. Places of public entertainment and restaurants are closed by law. Israeli television airs Holocaust documentaries and Holocaust-related talk shows, and low-key, mournful songs are played on the national radio channels. Flags on all public buildings are flown at half-mast in mourning. One of the most striking experiences of Yom HaShoah in Israel takes place at exactly 10 a.m. in the morning. That's when air raid sirens sound throughout the country, and Israelis are expected to observe 2 minutes of solemn reflection. You can actually see this if you Google it on YouTube. You'll find tapes and actual video of people doing this in Israel. Almost everyone stops what they're doing, including motorists who stop their cars literally in the middle of the road and on all major highways. Everything comes to a halt. Everyone gets out of their cars and stands beside their vehicles in silence as the siren mournfully wails. It's an awesome moment of collective memory. And if anyone ever asks you why the state of Israel should exist, tell them about this custom. Where else in the world would an entire country take 2 minutes to observe a silent tribute to victims, martyrs, heroes of the Shoah, people who tried to resist spiritually and emotionally against great evil, and the few who were able to get arms and fight physically against the seemingly invincible German army? Only in Israel are Jewish culture and history, as well as Jewish lives, a fundamental priority from the state, from the national country itself. I've been privileged to also be in Poland on Yom HaShoah with the Leo Martin March of the Living, where we walk from the work camp and administrative hub of Auschwitz 1.5 kilometers to the death camp of Birkenau, following the route that used to be known as a March of Death, but which we have reclaimed today as a March of the Living. There are no words that can describe visiting these places of horror and witnessing them for yourself. If you can send a teen on the march or attend as an adult yourself with the Friends of the March of the Living. You must do it. No teen will ever be quite the same after they've been on a march, and of course no adult either. Each person takes away his or her own lessons, but lessons we do take away, and they transform us forever. For so much of my life, I've struggled with belief in God because of the Holocaust. I was that generation that was shown the documentary Night and Fog in Hebrew school. That's the one in which you see so many bodies, piles and piles of them filmed by American troops as they liberated the camps, bulldozers bulldozing them into pits because of the potential for disease. So much death, so much evil. Those images scarred me forever. They scarred me not only visually. I really did not want to learn or hear about the Shoah after seeing that movie. I had had enough trauma. They also scarred me spiritually. Where was God, I thought? And then I asked my teachers. Weren't we told over and over that we had a covenant with the divine and would be protected if we were good? How bad were we to have merited 6 million unbearably cruel deaths, among them 1.5 million small, innocent children? My teachers noted correctly that God gives humanity a set of moral rules and free will, and that we humans are to blame for the evil that was done. Some Orthodox teachers later in life insisted that this was God's punishment of the Jewish people for the sin of Reformed Judaism, which was established in Germany, of course. And others simply stated the obvious. There is no clear explanation for evil of this magnitude. All we can do is commit ourselves to being righteous individuals and fight for morality in this world and continue the Judaism that was deprived to those victims. There's a Jewish custom that we all know when visiting a Shiva house or a house of mourning, to remain silent until the mourner begins the conversation. Sometimes the mourners might not want to speak, but instead remain silent. And of course, simply sitting with someone in silence can be a very comforting act. Everyone is different and mourns in their own way. Some people need to process their memories verbally and speak about their emotional pain. Others feel that no words could possibly be enough to express the depth of what they're feeling, and therefore silence is the most respectful response to their suffering. I think that responding to the Shoah should follow the same path. If you know a survivor, or if you can listen to a survivor testimonial, then just listen. Let them tell you about their life, their loss, what they endured. Make it a point to fight anti-Semitism and bigotry of the other, whomever that other is, if not for you and your children or grandchildren, then for the survivors. And remember, when people tried to take Judaism from us because of the fact that we were Jews and kill us because of the fact that we were Jews, then remaining Jewish, celebrating Judaism, strengthening Judaism is the best revenge. I will never forget being on the March of the Living, standing near one of the destroyed gas chambers and crematoria in Birkenau on a cold, overcast day. We were gathered around a large pond of water where we were about to conduct a memorial service, and our survivor, David Mermelstein, was about to recite the Kaddish prayer. But before he did, he paused and said in his Polish accented English, "Many of you have noticed that this pond of water doesn't look like a normal pond. It has a strange color, doesn't it? Yes, that's because the bottom of it is all ashes. They are white and gray, not brown or black like dirt. These are the ashes of our people who were gassed and burned until they became ash, and then they were thrown here into this pit, which fills up with rain from the heavens. And for me, he said, this is probably the closest I will ever come to praying at my parents' graves. And then moments later, he recited the Kaddish. And weeping, some of us silently and some of us uncontrollably, we each responded, Amen. Was our presence at that ash pit and now an ash pond comforting to David? I do not really know. Was Aaron in the Torah comforted on the death of his sons by the people around him? His brother Moshe, his other children, his wife, the people of Israel? I really do not know. But what we do know is that Aaron's silence can be a holy and valid choice for us too, in the face of life's mysteries, our tragedies, and all the moments of shock and pain that we endure in our lifetimes. I used to believe that silence was a cop-out. There had to be an answer to every question, said my teen and early 20s self very clearly. And yet now in maturity, I realize that life is far more mysterious than I had ever imagined, and that as a Jew, we will always have a worldwide community and a local family of Solel to mourn together with us, even as we mourn each in our own way. And that will have to be enough. We must find comfort in being part of the big, beautiful tapestry that makes up the Jewish community's response to our history and mine it for the strength to continue schlepping ourselves and the world to its utter, eternal messianic redemption in the future. That's how the Passover Seder ends. When it says next year in Jerusalem, it's not just talking about the physical land of Israel and going to Israel on an El Al plane and debarking from that plane 14 hours later. Jerusalem is both a real and a symbolic place. A messianic Jerusalem of our dreams awaits us at the end of history. This is what Jews have prayed for throughout time. This is what Jews have bequeathed to the world. A story that out of slavery and evil and oppression can come redemption, transformation, goodness, morality, and ultimate promised land. And in spite of everything that we've seen throughout our history, our near-term lives, our far-term lives, all of the discouragement that might show, even so, Od Lo Avda Tikvatenu, as the song, the Israeli national anthem says, we have not lost, we will never lose our hope for a world redeemed, our hope for a world of morality, and we will never stop working on its behalf. May each of us be a living testament to those who perished in the Shoah, and may their memories forever be a blessing, as well as an inspiration for our own lives ahead. Shabbat Shalom.
Eli, Eli, שלא ייגמר לעולם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים, תפילת האדם, החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ברק השמיים תפילת האדם. Oh Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
We take a moment now to pause to remember all those whom we have loved and lost. Before we recite the Kaddish, we particularly remember during this period of Shloshim, Sandy Connie, wife of Dr. Fred Connie, mother of Kyla, Connie Auerbach, and Jay Auerbach, Howard and Joni Connie, and Susan Connie Howell and Charles Howell, grandmother of Cameron and Ruby Auerbach, Sharice Levy and Joshua Connie, and the great-grandmother of Ariel and Eitan Levy. We also remember Phyllis Korenthal Blooming, the wife of Rabbi Ronald Blooming, as well as Edward Schlafer, uncle of Marcia Holmes, the brother of Barbara and Harvey Feldman, and Alan Schlafer. And now at this season, the yard sites that we recall are Pearl Angel, Philip Beckman, Frank Benedict, Dr. Abraham Bolker, Paul Campbell, Dennis Cohen, Selma Cohen, Philip Dressman, Sally Ehrenfreud, Norman Elbrand, Harold Fink, Anna Fishman, Hyman Friedman, Rebecca Glantz, Abraham Goldberg, Robert Haruska, Bernard Kanowitz, Molly Coben, Beverly Kramer, Ida Kuznets, Louis Levitan, Julia Marcus, Herman Mark, Clifford Meller, Joel Merker, Izzy Nadell, Jerome Niederman, Margarita Rainerman, Bertha Rosenberg, Ellie Rosenthal, David Rothman, William Rothstein, Rosalind Schneider, Sadie Sender, Ellie Stein, Lanky Vesey, William Wallace, Jacob Wexler, Eva Weiss, Ruth Winnick, and Rabbi Solomon Schiff, the emeritus chaplain of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation, who is a champion of interfaith relations and a true mensch. We take them all into our hearts, along with our own, as together we recite Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'izman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudasha barichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens bring that same shalom, that equanimity that wholeness, that sense of tranquil calm and peace to us here on earth. And together we affirm that thought with a big Amen. And now I believe we have some announcements from Matthew.
We do, and thank you so much. And Rabbi Efrat, it is great to have you back. I'm glad you had some time off. It is wonderful to have you back. And it's just as wonderful to always be spending every Friday evening Shabbat with Cantor, Robin, and the rest of our Solel family that enjoys seeing us over Zoom. We get a chance to kibitz a little bit. We spend some time together as friends and family, and we have a nice little quick little oneg. So it's always nice to be with everybody on this Shabbat evening. So good evening on this 27th day of Nisan. On behalf of the Temple Board of Directors, I would like to thank our Solel family and friends, as well as our global audience, for connecting with us virtually and spiritually on this Shabbat evening. During these challenging times of social distancing and isolation, Temple Solel continues to be here for you. Although we are practicing physical distancing, this does not mean we need to distance ourselves emotionally. To meet the growing needs of our congregation, Temple Solel has made services and other ritual observances available via livestream to all who would like to join in. Temple Solel's fundamental mission is to make Judaism vital, relevant, positive, and lasting. We work tirelessly to ensure that the beauty, depth, ethics, and joy of Judaism are brought to life, not just for our members, but for all. By making Temple Solel a philanthropic priority in your life, you are not just sustaining your synagogue today, you are helping to ensure the strength of a welcoming model of Judaism for generations to come. You can always donate in a few different ways. Navigate to our website, log yourself in under Amazon Smile, which I know a lot of you do. You can always call the Temple office or email the Temple at admin@templesolel.com. I do want to send out a huge mazel tov to Myron and Diane Sandler, longtime members of our congregation, for the birth of their beautiful great-grandson, Asher Isaac Hacker. So a big mazel tov to the Sandler and Hacker family for such a beautiful event. The Tikkun Olam Committee, I have an announcement for them. It's about funding climate solutions in agriculture Pesach April Action Alert. So we are extremely excited that the third Jewish Climate Action Conference is arriving. Rabbi Katie Allen and the JCAN organization team have worked hard to put together a broad-ranging program that explores decarbonizing homes and synagogues, soil and carbon, the voices of youth, advocacy, spiritual resilience, and anti-racism. They are striving for sessions that make the connection showing everything is connected. Jewish tradition teaches us that all of creation is sacred. Find out what you can do to make a positive impact as a partner in the ongoing creation of the world. There is a link on our website to register for the third annual Jewish Climate Action Conference on April 25th. And so for all our live virtual events, you can always join us either on Facebook, on the live stream, or on our website at templesolel.com/live-feed. So if some events coming back up. Tomorrow morning, we have Torah study back with Rabbi Efrat to challenge us. I'm sure she is ready to go to teach and inspire us as she always does. And that will be over Zoom starting at 9:30 a.m. We're back this Sunday. We're excited to be back with our religious school kids at 10 o'clock a.m. for our after spring break for 2 weeks off. We're excited to come back, talk about Pesach, talk about what they did to celebrate, and look forward to meeting with everybody again. On Tuesday, April 13th at 7:30 p.m., as we do on every Tuesday, Rabbi Rosen will be holding his confirmation class over Zoom. And then, yes, we are finally back with Cantor, Rosen Music Time. People have been begging and pleading, and we're finally back. So our theme this week will be the Israeli Independence Day with a special guest cantorial soloist, Shavla Berthe. So we have a whole April schedule that has been rolled out, and the first event will be this Wednesday, April 14th at 6 o'clock p.m. And then back with our Shabbat services on Friday the 17th with Rabbi Efrat. So a couple of thoughts to leave you with before I turn it back over to you. It's about kindness. So we don't have to agree on anything to be kind to one another. And when you are kind to others, it not only changes you, it changes the world. So with that, we all ask that you stay safe. Have a beautiful evening. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody stays in good health. And back to you, Robin, Cantor, and Rabbi.
And I have one more quick announcement for everyone before we conclude. The Miami Jewish Film Festival, which is the largest Jewish film festival in the world this year, with over 100 feature films, short films, a lineup of Israeli films, American films, films from all over the world, is going to be happening starting Thursday this coming week for 2 full weeks, and it is completely free and completely virtual. So if you go to miamijewishfilmfestival.org, you will see on Thursday a platform very similar to Netflix, where you will have access to all of those movies 24/7 for that 2-week time period, completely for free. And even better, it is open, available, and free to everyone in the state of Florida. It's geo-locked past Florida, but anyone in the state of Florida has access to it no matter where they are. So please go online, see what's being offered. In addition to the incredible movies, there are a number of different Q&A panels with directors, actors, writers, producers that give depth and context to the movies. Some of them I conducted, some of them colleagues have conducted. Sometimes we got experts in the field to conduct those interviews. All of them, every movie is going to be thought-provoking in a different kind of way. There are, of course, movies about the Shoah, as well as about Israel, all different kinds of subjects, and there's something for everyone, including for young people. There's even a drop-down category that's for all ages. So please, please, please take advantage of this incredible opportunity when you don't have to go any further than your television or laptop screen, and take a look at the Miami Jewish Film Festival. And please tell everyone that you know. Go like us on Facebook and share it with people, because as something free, this is an incredibly wonderful way of sharing Jewish culture. And one final thing, there is a number of movies in this Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges category that have to do with the Black Jewish Alliance on civil rights during the for actually the full 20th century and into the 21st century, and the ups and the downs of those relationships. A particular feature film about that relationship in a narrative way. Incredible offerings. So please take a look, and hopefully see you at the movies. And with that, I'm going to ask the Cantor to take us away with the final song.
We do the closing hymn before the Kiddush, I think. Sometimes Adon Olam. Okay. Adon Olam asher mala בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא אדון עולם והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם בידו הפקיד רוחי בעת תשען ואירה אדון עולם ואם רוחי גביעתי אדון לי ולא אירה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם.
And with that, we continue with Kiddush, which sanctifies this day, separating it, making it special, unique, holy, which are all synonyms for one another.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
לחיים.
L'chaim. And the Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.